Texas House Democrats just sent a release saying that they will return if special session 1 indeed ends on Friday, and if the California legislature basically files a response trying to change their maps. Your take on that?
It's interesting, right? I think that, first of all, the Texas House Democrats should be hailed as heroes. They were able to bring this issue to the forefront, not only for Texans, but for this country. And so I think that it is important for people to understand just how desperate this administration is to continue trampling on everyone's rights, not just the rights of those that came out against this administration, but honestly, a lot of people that supported this administration, to the extent that they've decided that they want to cheat and continue to minimize access to the ballot box and the voices of Black and brown people. I know that a lot of people overall will be probably greatly disappointed, because for a long time we've needed an injection of energy. Our base has been looking for their fighters, and at least in this moment, the Texas House Democrats became the fighters that they wanted to see. But ultimately, I don't think that any elected official, whether they're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, should face the type of things that they're facing. Unfortunately, it is commonplace for me on the federal level to consistently have to put up with death threats, to consistently have those that are in power to somehow warn me that they're going to cage me. This is not something that is normal for them. It should not be normal for anyone. But we're talking about them going as people are laid up in hospitals. And so until you honestly walk a day in the life of some of us, it's hard to really understand the toll that some of this can take on you.
This map, let's be real, is eventually going to pass before the filing deadline, so in time for the midterms. So what do Democrats have to do if the map eventually passes?
Yeah, I think first of all, we don't give up and just say that they're going to get 5 seats. One of the reasons that they decided that they wanted to do this is because if you know a little thing about history, then you know in 2018 there was this incredible backlash where Donald Trump, after his first 2 years in office, obviously we ended up picking up the House. He doesn't want us to do that. He doesn't want us to be able to investigate or to hold him accountable. We know that the Republicans, whether they're in the House, the Senate, or on the Supreme Court, have all decided that they would give him license to do whatever he wants to do. And frankly, I don't think that at this moment people really care who it is that steps up, but they want people to step up and actually hold him accountable. So I think that there are those that believe it's a given that he's going to absolutely get these 5 seats. I say we fight to the end. I say that when I look at a Henry Cuellar that won his seat by Henry Cuellar won his seat, but Donald Trump also won that seat by 7 points. I say that the things that they believe are impossible, I say are not improbable. And so I think that it's time for us to fight in the streets. It's time for us to ignite Texans. It's time for us to show up in record numbers. We know that even when we look back to 2018, Beto almost won the Senate against Ted Cruz. He lost by 3 points, not even a total of 3 points. It was more like 2 point something. But the difference was we only had 17% of Texans show up. If we can get 25, 30, 40% of Texans to show up, then we can show out. We saw it happen in Georgia when they had well over 80% show up. We ended up with 2 senators. So I'm not going to give up. I believe that Texans understand that we are living in some really desperate times. And so therefore, we've got to do things that we've never done, including show up all around and vote in our interest instead of against our interest.
You joined your colleagues out of state. You used to be in their shoes. You were a fellow quorum breaker. When it comes to the special session, they're going to get hit on blocking other legislation that they do support. What's that conversation look like it's a lot of finger pointing going on, but flood legislation, other things have not passed.
It looks like nothing. This is just for them to have talking points. This is just for their base. When I say their base, I mean like the governor's base. The reality is that you didn't care about those people. If that was the case, you would have put this type of legislation forward prior to, right? You are trying to be reactive instead of proactive. We know that the Guadalupe has flooded before. We know that lives were lost before, specifically children's lives were lost the last time that the Guadalupe flooded. We know that the Biden-Harris administration tried to send money directly to those elected leaders that happened to be Republicans in that area, and they were the ones that said no. So to be clear, Democrats, when they're in power, they don't say, oh, we're Democrats, and so therefore we're only going to focus on those Democratic areas. Instead, we believe in doing what's right. We believe in actually, instead of just saying we're Christians, but actually doing the Christian thing, looking out for our neighbors, regardless of who it is that you voted for. So I think it's a game. I know it's a game. It's a gimmick that they play when they are trying to win the communication war. The reality is that they did not push forward with legislation as it relates to flood relief first. Instead, what they pushed forward with was a map that nobody in Texas asked them for. That is where they had their priorities. So I think it's important that when the House Democrats do go back, that they communicate. They had no priority for those persons. And to be clear, none of the Democrats represent that area anyway. So how is this going to hit as it relates to their constituents? I don't think that it's going to hit their constituents, and their constituents are going to be upset because they are fighting for democracy. They are fighting for representative government so that hopefully you can have elected leaders that will listen to you when we say, hey, you know what? We're going to need this infrastructure. Please help us out. And you know, the last person to pass anything having to do with infrastructure, it just so happened to be Joe Biden. And when he passed that bipartisan infrastructure bill, because he believed in bipartisanship to the extent that many people say, forget it. If they don't want to join the party, it is what it is. But this bipartisanship on infrastructure, it wasn't just for things like to make sure that you could support the Guadalupe. It was for infrastructure around things such as internet access, where rural America was struggling. Like, I need people to take this as an opportunity to do their research and find out that it was a state representative from that area that actually voted against legislation again to do something for them. It's kind of too late. You tell me whether or not pulling together legislation after the fact is going to bring back that child that literally still is missing because of their incompetence. I am believing that Texans are going to wake up and say enough is enough. This state has been under Republican control for the last 30 years. That has not stopped Uvalde. That has not stopped El Paso. That has not stopped what we saw at the Guadalupe. So if you want to try something different, if you want to actually win, if you want some people that are going to look out for you before you are dead, then maybe it's time to talk to the Democrats.